You know, every living thing, from you and me to the tiniest plant, is like a whole universe of constant communication. It's this incredible network of high-speed signals that lets us react to the world, think our thoughts, and even grow. So today, we're going to dive into that amazing internal wiring, and we'll start with a reaction so fast it almost seems impossible. We have all been there. You accidentally touch something scorching hot, like a pan on the stove, and your hand just yanks back before you've even really had a chance to process what just happened. It's an almost instantaneous reaction, way faster than thought. But have you ever stopped to wonder, how is that even possible? And that right there, that's the central mystery we're going to unravel today. I mean, it seems backwards, doesn't it? How can you act before you even feel or think? Well, it turns out your body has this brilliant, blazingly fast shortcut just for emergencies, and we're going to trace it wire by wire. So here's our game plan. We'll start by breaking down that split-second reaction. Then we'll trace the body's actual wiring and see how signals can jump the gaps between cells. After that, we'll compare the body's different information highways, and then we'll switch gears to a much slower chemical messaging system. And finally, we'll get to the really wild part, how plants manage to do all of this without a single nerve in sight. Okay, so to really get how any reaction works, we first need to meet the three main characters in this story. Every single thing we do, from blinking to running a marathon, it all starts with these same basic parts. First up, you've got the stimulus. In our hot pan example, the stimulus is that intense heat. It's the trigger. Your skin then acts as the receptor, the thing that detects the trigger. And that detection kicks off this whole chain of events that leads to the final part, the response, which is pulling your hand away. So just remember that. Stimulus, receptor, response. Those are our building blocks. So how does that message, danger, hot, travel from your fingertip all the way to your muscles so incredibly fast? Well, it's carried by the hero of our story, a super specialized cell called the neuron. The easiest way to think of neurons is as the electrical wires of your body. You have billions of them, and they form this massive, complex network that connects, well, everything. Each and every one is perfectly designed to do one thing exceptionally well: transmit information at ridiculously high speeds. And what's really cool is the flow of information. It is strictly a one-way street. A signal comes in through those little branch-like things, the dendrites. It gets processed in the main cell body, and then it zips down that long cable, the axon, to be passed on from the nerve endings to the next cell in line. It's a beautifully efficient system. Okay, so a signal can travel down one neuron, no problem. But here's the catch. Neurons aren't actually physically connected to each other. There are these tiny, tiny little gaps between them. So how does the message get from the end of one wire to the beginning of the next? This is where the real magic happens. I mean, it's a huge problem if you think about it. An electrical impulse can't just leap through empty space like a spark. The system needs some kind of clever bridge to get that message across without losing it. And the answer is the synapse. It's this microscopic space where an absolutely amazing transformation takes place. The super-fast electrical signal arrives at the end of one neuron, and in an instant, it gets converted into a chemical signal to cross the gap. Then, just as quickly, it's converted back into an electrical signal on the other side. Think of it exactly like a relay race. The electrical impulse is the baton. When it gets to the end of the line, it gets passed off as a little burst of chemicals, which we call neurotransmitters. These chemicals dash across the gap, land on the next neuron, and boom, a brand new electrical impulse is started. It's this incredible, lightning-fast conversion from electricity to chemistry and back again. All right, so now that we understand the wiring and the connections, we can finally solve our original mystery. You see, not all messages take the same route. Your body has different pathways for different actions, kind of like how a city has major highways for getting across town fast and smaller local roads for everything else. And here is the absolute key. Check out this chart. Voluntary actions, like deciding to get up and walk, obviously involve your brain. So do involuntary actions, like your heart beating. But that third type, a reflex action, that's the game changer. For the sake of pure, unadulterated speed, it bypasses the brain entirely. And this is how that shortcut, called the reflex arc, works. The signal from the heat receptors in your skin travels up a sensory neuron, but, and here's the key part, instead of going all the way up to the brain, it just goes to your spinal cord. There, a relay neuron instantly passes the signal over to a motor neuron, which tells the muscle in your arm, the effector, to contract, and your hand moves. It is a brilliant, life-saving shortcut. The pain message does go to your brain, but it travels on a slightly slower path. That's why you pull your hand away before you even feel the ouch.
So the nervous system is built for speed, for things that need to happen in a millisecond. But your body also has this whole other communication network for stuff that doesn't need to happen in the blink of an eye, like growing taller or managing your energy levels.
I love this analogy, it's perfect. The endocrine system uses chemical messengers called hormones, which travel through your bloodstream. It doesn't have that pinpoint accuracy of the nervous system, but it's absolutely perfect for sending out widespread messages that can last for hours, days, or even years. Let's look at a couple of quick examples of this postal service in action. Your adrenal gland pumps out adrenaline to get you ready for a fight or flight response. Your pancreas releases insulin to manage your blood sugar after you eat. And your pituitary gland releases growth hormone. These are all vital, long-term jobs that are managed by these chemical messengers. Okay, so we humans have two really sophisticated systems. One that's electrical and super fast, and one that's chemical and slower. But what about organisms that have no brain, no nerves, and no muscles? How on earth do plants coordinate themselves? Take a look at this. On the left are human reflex. On the right, a sensitive plant, the Mimosa pudica, which instantly folds up its leaves when you touch it. The response is just as dramatic, just as fast, but the machinery behind it is completely different. How can it react like that with no nervous system whatsoever? Well, here's the big difference. While animals like us use a combination of electrical and chemical signals, plants rely entirely on chemical coordination. They are master chemists. They have their own version of a hormonal system to sense and react to the world around them. And these chemical signals create two main types of movements. You've got tropic movements, which are slow directional changes based on growth, like a sunflower turning its head to follow the sun. But then you have nastic movements, which are fast and non-directional, like that sensitive plant or a Venus flytrap snapping shut. Those are based on rapid changes in water pressure inside the cells, all triggered by a chemical signal. And this whole system is controlled by plant hormones. For example, a hormone called auxin is the reason that a plant on your windowsill will literally bend towards the light. Gibberellins help the stem grow longer and taller. And ethylene, that's the gas that fruits release to signal that it's time to ripen. It's why one ripe banana in a bag will make the whole bunch ripen faster. It's an incredibly sophisticated chemical language. Which brings us to a final, pretty fascinating thought. We've seen how signals fly through our nerves, how hormones flow through our veins. We've even seen how plants use a purely chemical network to respond to their world in complex ways. So it kind of begs the question, if a plant can do all of that without a brain, maybe our definition of what it means to sense and feel and react needs to be just a little bit broader. What do you think?